Namaskaram, Arunaji. It's a great pleasure seeing you on the frame.
Namaste. So nice to see you, Ganesh Kumarji.
Well, for a long time we have been wanting you to address, the younger generation through the InSync platform, the digital platform. And I'm extremely happy that we are actually starting the Carnatic fraternity with Aruna Sairam ji.
Wonderful. It's my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure.
Well, I'm told this InSync TV Instagram live page is a new initiative of the InSync TV. Incidentally, InSync TV has become the world's largest classical music platform, both through the TV and the digital platform. And this is a new initiative to try and address, classical music. Otherwise, it's a very serious subject. But the organizers told me that what they want is fun-filled conversation. So please pardon me if I, contrary to my normal questioning, if I'm a little mischievous here and there, I hope you wouldn't mind that.
Not at all. Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Okay, so we are on with our journey. My first question to you is going to be, who proposed to whom? Did Arunaji propose to Sairam, or did Sairam propose to Arunaji? I'm sure the younger generation.
Neither. It was the parents that proposed to each other.
Oh my God. So you are as conservative in your personal life as much as you are in music.
Absolutely. Those were the days, those were very different days when we our parents
Right.
That's how it was.
I was reading somewhere that you actually studied in Mumbai in a school called Don Bosco, which is a convent school.
No, not Don Bosco. I studied in JB Vatsha, which is a Parsi school.
Right. Which had nothing to do with our culture or our kind of cultural activities. So did you anytime feel that, my music and my schooling had very little compatibility, or how did you feel? How did you take it on?
Yeah, I mean, in school, by the time I was in 4th standard, I enrolled for the Western music choir classes. There was an option to choose Indian music also. But because I was doing Indian music at home, I somehow was interested in joining the Western music choir. So school, I was singing Western music. And only when there was a assembly, weekly assembly, weekly prayer, appo they used to ask me to sing a prayer. Adu paadven. So the teachers and my friends knew that I can sort of sing decently. But the extent of my Carnatic learning, or the so many great musicians coming home and all that intensity, I was not really able to express it in school, what is going on in my personal atmosphere. They only knew that I can sort of sing Indian music.
मगर आपके जो आसपास जितने फ्रेंड्स हैं, ये सारे हिंदी बात करने वाले या तमिल तो पक्का?
हिंदी भी, इंग्लिश भी बात करते थे, मराठी भी, और मैं गुजराती में भी बात करती थी, because my second language was Gujarati in secondary school.
लेकिन आपने जो कहा प्रेयर सॉन्ग, ये प्रेयर सॉन्ग कौन से भाषा में थी?
कभी कभार चूज करते थे ना टीचर्स, दिस वीक हिंदी में गाओ, नेक्स्ट वीक गुजराती में गाओ, उसके बाद अंग्रेजी में गाओ, उसके बाद संस्कृत में गाओ, ऐसे.
So the multilingual aspect got into you during the school time itself?
Long ago. I mean, if you are in Bombay, you cannot escape the multilingual factor. Bombay is such a cosmopolitan city, so it was all over the place, and I was very much part of that.
Oh, super. And you were actually living in a place called Five Gardens.
Yes.
Which actually, if one knows Bombay, it's actually a lover's nest. So kind of, you moving around and wanting to eat pani puri and bhel puri and things like that. So did you also kind of, enjoy all this fringe elements of Mumbai?
Absolutely. I mean, after school, when from JB Vacha, we would pass the Five Gardens to get home. And there used to be one Lakhan Bhaiya who used to sell Kala Kattha juice. Kala
Wow.
Kattha Sharbat.
Right.
So weekly once Anna, we used to somehow scrounge up money from our, there was no concept of pocket money, but thoda idhar udhar, and have Lakhan Bhaiya's, that gola, dip
My
it
God.
in the glass, ice balls with a stick. The dip
But I'm
panni.
sure the Lakhan Bhaiya would have never known in his life that he was actually preparing a Carnatic singer.
Exactly.
Oh
So
my
other
God.
than there was the Belpuri wala, Thele walas. So we used to
Uh-huh.
eat Belpuri and Pani Puri, and I mean we had a great time enjoying all the goodies.
Mother admonish you for all this? Because I'm sure she would not have approved your drinking kala khatta, which is
Far
actually.
from it. My mother on weekends, my mother and father would accompany me to Lakhan Bhaiya.
Oh my God! So the entire family.
The whole family was jara satak gaya types.
My God! My God! My God! So this Lakhanaya business have you ever met him in recent times so that he would kind of.
No, no.
Uh,
I believe Lakhan Bhaiya has reached the feet of the Lord, but I'm told his son or grandson is there in Five Gardens. So my plan
uh-huh.
is next to go to Bombay, I want to go and meet them.
I will actually search out this boy now
Please,
and
please,
keep him informed that
please,
Aruna, who had the Kala Khatta with your father, has
please,
now become such an icon in the classical music industry. And I'm
please.
going to bring it to you once. And we will pay him 5 times the price that he charges so that he
Oh,
feels nice.
yes, yes,
What
yes.
I think in the childhood, a lot of people touch our lives without realizing what you are going to be. And
Yes,
it's a great human touch to remember
absolutely,
them. And I was
absolutely.
actually reading somewhere that Mukesh Ambani, the great industrialist, was mentioning in one of his interviews that when he studied in UDCT, he used to go to the Mysore cafe
Yes,
to Rasavada. And
absolutely.
so this is what
I,
Matunga, where
I
you live,
believe, I hear that Mukesh Ambani ji, even
right?
now on occasion, on a Sunday morning, quietly comes there for his
Right.
rasam and vada.
Wow. So such
Uh,
was Matunga, filled with a lot of fun, filled
yes,
with a lot of, what shall I say, a lot of fun in life. And you
absolutely.
grew up in such a location, and no
Yes,
wonder that you became multilingual because you had
yes,
the
yes,
training, basic training in the school itself. You had
yes,
Kalakata, so that your the vocal cords were prepared for all kinds of tones and pitches.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
the Belpuri prepared your stomach to fight anything. You became so your
Exactly.
immunity levels would grow up in you. So that's real fun
Yeah, I
in
think
your
that
life.
helped me. That training helped me
Uh-huh.
because later on, when travels around the world performing, very
Right,
often you take a flight in the morning, you reach there, you barely have time for a shower, and you have to be ready to go and do the sound check and performance, and you have to be
correct.
really hardy. And I think those days prepared me for that. My stomach also for that hardiness.
Oh my God, my. But did you were you mischievous during your school days?
Yeah, I was mischievous, but
Okay.
I was one of those persons. I'm told, especially my brother, as would have, if he was here, he would have stories and stories to tell you. But
Uh-huh.
he would always say that I always get the spanking, but you always get away with a good name. But underneath the skin, I used to
Uh-huh.
be the one who was up to all the mischief.
Raja was such a pavam, Raja was such a pavam guy,
Yeah,
and one would always think that Raja would never do any mistake or never would be up
correct.
to any prank. And because of his younger daughter, younger sister, he got into trouble.
He used to
My,
get all the scolding
uh,
because मेरी जबान चलती थी और उसके हाथ चलते थे. So I
yeah,
used to
uh,
purify him with my words, and
uh,
he would lose his temper and raise his hand. Poor guy, he
my.
will get caught. But the
That's it.
real was from
जैसे मद्रासी फैमिली में
uh,
आज बेटी को हमेशा प्रोटेक्टेड रखते थे एंड
बिल्कुल.
बेटी चल जाता था मगर अगर बेटा करे तो उसको तो मार पड़ती थी.
Yeah, yeah. You can't spank your sister. அதெல்லாம் பண்ண. You can't do it.
இந்த கிருஷ்ணனை பத்தி நீங்க பாடுறது, இந்த பின்னலை பிடிச்சு இழுக்கிறது, அதெல்லாம் நீங்க ரொம்ப வந்து தத்ரூபமா பாடுறேன். Such situations really happen to you?
You mean the Vishamakara Kannan adella?
Exactly.
Yeah. Number Bombay, we used to always have those kind of it was a very liberal atmosphere even then. So all the for Holi, particularly Holi, the entire tolly of 40-50 classmates, I was studying at SIS college, Bandhuva, they used to come down to the compound and yell, Aruna, Aruna, Aruna. They will yell for everybody. Then you have to go down and you will be completely doused in color. And in the madri, the pinnala pudichu ilukaradu, tease pandrathu, all in a healthy way. But we had a lot of that fun. Lot of.
So, Vishamakara Kannan, actually, you have experienced it so many times in your life.
Yes.
Poor Sairam, my sympathies with Sairam, because he was a very nice and soft person, never be up to anything. So now I can realize in your life together with Sairam and yourself, you are the one who is always up to mischief, and he is the poor guy.
Yeah, the guys are good. I am the one who is thoda usi molaga.
Coming slightly back to your classical music, you rubbed shoulders with several stalwarts, the doyens of music, who always came to your house to, while they had a program in Shanmukhananda or while they had a program elsewhere. So they would always treat your house as a kind of hub where they could come and, have some acha sa South Indian khana, ya dosa or coffee or whatever. And those happenings gave you an opportunity as a child to talk to them, to be with them, to learn their music, to ask them questions, which is very important as a youngster, to seek clarification. Actually, many people would say as a youngster, you must be tight-lipped. But in my perspective, if you want to learn more, you always ask questions to the people around you, but in a nice way. So tell us some anecdotes, something like this, if you have.
You would like the anecdotes to be musical or outside music?
Both. Fun.
Okay. So, couple of anecdotes immediately come to my mind is T.R. Mahalingam, sir. So you know that he was very well known for playing truant. That is, suddenly if he felt he doesn't want to perform a concert, he will just quit from that place. That was his temperament. So once he was in Delhi, I believe, and something happened, he did not want to perform that particular concert because they were inconvenient to him or not good to him, something like that. Now, he wanted to escape without their knowledge. And they were having a kind of an unofficial peredari on him because they expected that he may scoot. Okay. But he wanted to have the last laugh. So he took a pillowcase. Okay. Pillowcase, he just stuffed a couple of his personal clothes, whatever. And just grabbed that pillowcase. And from the window, he escaped out, not from the door, from the window of that room. Okay. He took a train. Those days, flights were not very easy to do. He took a train, came to Bombay, and all we came to know later. All I know is the doorbell rang in our house, and I am always the one to run to open the door. Okay, being the youngest, I opened the door and I find Mali sir standing like that, bit draggled, with a crumpled pillowcase in his hands. And saying, Aruna, Navandutte, he's saying, and he comes into the house, and my father and mother are in shock because they don't know kya hua hai. Later on, they come to know that this has happened. That time, he stayed with us for 3 months. He was in our house for 3 months. And my God, it was
the world reveres as possibly the best performer, Carnatic performer. And up to a great mischief in Delhi, he found a resort in Mumbai. In our
house.
My God.
Absolutely. And he knew that both Raja and I loved to eat food in restaurants, but our parents never took us. Also, those days, it was not easy to just go into a restaurant like that for middle class people. So he was a big punter. So he used to play horse racing. So if he had win in the horse race, immediately Raja and I would know. You know why? He would say, Raja, Aruna, dress up. Today we are going to Sher-e Punjab to have a nice Punjabi meal. Abdinna, we should understand that he has made some money and he is going to give us a treat. So he will take us Dadar TT, that there used to be a Sher-e Punjab. And so he used to take us there and nicely naan and dal makhni and all those things. It was our first exposure to restaurant food. So it was memorable. We used to adore him.
Did he speak Hindi or any other language? I always thought he was a very conservative kind of a person.
Not Hindi, but he would make himself understood. He could get by. Somehow
you always know what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe you and Raja were actually taken so that you can explain to the usherer what is
possible, very possible.
Which is your favorite typical Madrasi food?
Madrasi food, Molavu Kolambu, Chepangalgu roast.
My God. Do you make it?
Yeah, of course. At least once or twice a month we make Chepangalgu roast and Molavu Kolambu. Definitely.
Molavu Kolambu is different from sambar.
No. Sambar has got dal in it. The Molavu Kolambu is more like a thick, hot decoction of pepper and other spices with tamarind juice. And it has to simmer down to half its quantity by boiling, so that it becomes like a very gatti, a very thick, viscous kind of soup. Viscous soup, and you can't have more than 1 or 2 teaspoons of it with rice. Hot rice and ghee.
Everything that you say seems to be so dangerous to an evolving musician. The Molavu, the puri, the viscous liquid. Ammadi, idella saapttu neenga appadi paadrelna, what would have happened if you had ten?
For me, how I look at Molavu Kolambu, it opens up the pores in my body and allows me to express myself freely. That's how I look at Molavu Kolambu.
Oh my God. So in your nerves, it is not blood which is running, it is the Molavu Kolambu which is running.
That is true.
But tell me, நீங்க normally ஒரு 2 octaves ரொம்ப comfortable பாடுவீங்க.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Now, do you think this Kala Katta, Molavu Kolambu and the Punjabi food that you have had, all this during your childhood, enabled that, or what would you actually, for a performing musician, even to touch 2 octaves sometimes is a challenge.
Yes.
But comfortably travels from the lower Panchamam, what have you, Madhyam and then Tarastai and all that so comfortably and so easily. Now, what would you attribute this range, the wide range that you have in music, to your eating habits?
Yeah. So first of all, when I was a kid, there was no notion that I was going to become a full-time professional singer. That idea was not there neither in my parents' mind or they just loved music and they exposed me to music. But there was no real goal or agenda that I have to become a well-known musician. That came later. Yes, I must tell you that after I became professionally completely committed to this, I am very careful about when I eat these things and how. I have to be careful. It's not that if I have a concert tomorrow, today I'm going to sit and eat all these kind of heavy foods. No, I won't do that. Yes, if I have a break, I will indulge a little bit. Having said that, I must also tell you, and this is particularly for the young listeners who are tuned into this our conversation today, that I had to work a lot on voice culture and voice training and voice practice. And I attribute my ability to traverse this 2.5 octaves or more to that. And for that, I had to ask many questions, seek many mentors and teachers, and it was a whole process and a whole journey.
What is your standard pitch?
I think it's a pitch of F.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, actually, your voice somehow sounds great when it is in the mantra sthai.
Yes.
And So normally இது வந்து கொஞ்சம் odd amongst the Carnatic female musicians,
Yes.
and somehow you have actually made that as your strength.
Yes.
So this voice culture that you mean, that you refer to, is something that is very not very normal for a Carnatic musician, but you have done something much more. And maybe because you have a lot of interaction with Hindustani musicians, because in Hindustani the voice culture is treated to be very important, unlike Carnatic fraternity. And so some information and anecdotes on the Hindustani musicians interaction.
Okay, so yeah, this question about I should improve my voice was always there, particularly in my adolescent years, because as you can hear my voice, it is not a soprano voice; it's an alto voice. Alto voice means it's a female low-pitched voice. That's what my range is. So I always felt when my voice broke and I was having little trouble in negotiating, I knew I needed guidance. But for many years, I didn't know where to look. I was just practicing and self-improvement. Then I met Vaman Rao Sadolikar, the father of Shruti Sadolikar, the great eminent musician. He started me off on some mandrasthai practice, that is mandrasa practice, with om and other vowels and everything, which I was doing for a long time. And then slowly I realized I need more and more training and more this one. So when I did my M.Lit in music, I chose the subject of voice training as my thesis, because I knew that would lead me to more information and research. Then having submitted that thesis, I got more and more into it. But ultimately, a lot of breakthrough came to me when I went to Germany. But I was already performing, but not so much, but yes, performing a little bit. When I went there, I again sought out many teachers there, and I met my voice master, Mr. Eugene Rabi, in Germany. And a short period of training with him set me on a completely different path. And ever since, I had been in touch with him, getting guidance and mentorship. And so it's a whole journey. But the Western method of training is what helped me. Although my teacher, Praveen, was doubtful. He said, this is a Western method of training and you are an Indian singer. How will it work? But there, you know, how it depends on how we process the information and we convert it into something that is beneficial to us. That our analytical skills come into play there. And I am lucky that I was able to do that with the grace of Vithala and somehow got through that process.
Two, three new things have come out now. One is you referred to Vaman Rao Sadolikar, who's one of the foremost in the Hindustani fraternity. Then you did MA in music on voice culture. And number two, got the help of a German expert on voice culture. And number four, you Indianized the practicing methods which a German taught you based on your Western methodology. And also female singer that you are able to take in all this and ensure that your repertoire handles so many different things at the same time. But tell me, for a young musician who have this challenge when the vocal cords start changing at a certain age, how do they handle the situation, both male and female? It's more challenging to the male because suddenly the female-ish aspect of the voice changes into male-ish aspect. And that is when they can. So what is your advice to all of them?
Actually, now I would say that at that time we did not know, but now there are voice experts and doctors who specialize in this subject. There are technically qualified people who can help in such subjects. So I think the moment you start having trouble at an early stage itself, it is good to take the consultation of an expert and a trained doctor. Actually, it's a combination of the doctor and the voice trainer. Both should be there in the picture, and they can advise after seeing, you know, they take images of the vocal cords and all that. Then they will tell you what is the condition. Maybe they will advise you to take rest for a year. They will say for next 6 months, don't sing. For a year, don't sing. Or they may say, oh no, you need some practice to overcome this problem. Only they will be able to say, and I think it is good before it's too late. Because if you keep on at it without consulting anybody and you practice the wrong way and you damage anything, then it becomes difficult. So it's better to be preemptive rather than curative.
Well, that tempts me to make a comment that in the normal Gurukula Sampradayam, if the Guru is also adept at identifying these constraints at the beginning stage and address the situation, but more often you find the Gurus are more tilted towards good music rather than good voice. So the Indian singers do have this challenge because in India, I don't think this branch of voice culture or the musicology aspect of good music has not really developed, because we look more at the art form rather than the science form. So as a leading singer, if you are able to, sensitize the youngsters that when they have a little trouble with their voice, they should consult an expert and ensure that the voice is kind of cleaned up so that at a later stage, they don't have this trouble.
Yes, I very much insist on that. Yes. Yes.
So you as a what shall I say, a very conservative Carnatic doyen of music, but your interactions with the outside international world in terms of pairing with other kinds of artists, other kinds of instruments, other kinds of methodology. So all this wide canvas in your system, how did you manage to do that? Because normally one would expect that the girl child in the family is put to a particular teacher and she and the teacher train a certain kind of things, and then she advances herself and then starts singing. But you seem to be having a slightly different journey. Your journey has taken you far and wide. Your journey has taken you interacting with so many different kinds of people. So some anecdotes on that.
I think both my parents are the reason for that, because my father was a person with a very independent thinking mind. And so I've seen him react to many situations in life, not only musical, even personal or familial situations. He always believed if he thought about something in a certain way, he always would give a voice to that thought. And he was never afraid of winning the displeasure of somebody, or he wouldn't be unpleasant. He would be very polite but firm, saying that, no, this is what I think and this is what I think you should do. And he constantly told me also on many occasions, he said, never be afraid, never be afraid, never give up your curiosity, and never kowtow to the system. If some voice inside you says you need to find out something, you should go after it. That message constantly he gave.
So that aspect of Bombay-based behavior, where you're always, you always want to take a risk and achieve something much higher than what others did. So that streak of risk-taking, which otherwise is non-existent in the conservative Tamil or the conservative Tambran kind of an attitude. So this enabled you to see new frontiers.
Absolutely.
And I'm extremely, with a very interesting information. Now tell me, in all the interviews when I spoke to you some years back, you mentioned about the national programs on the All India Radio, which used to happen there, and your father would prepare that room as if the concert is actually happening there in your room. So tell the youngsters about that experience.
Yeah, that was interesting. Actually, interestingly, today is a Saturday, so my mind goes back to Saturdays, because remember, All India Radio, then the national program would be aired on a Saturday. And it would be 9:30 to 11. Every Saturday night was a national program. So evening itself, my father, always he used to go to Matunga market for a walk. Before that, when me and my brother would go to play, he would say, finish your play, finish your dinner. Today, remember, all of us are going to listen to this national program. So he will already prepare us. That means you have to finish all your things early, homework, whatever you have to do. So we will finish, we'll have by 7:30 or so, we would have finished our dinner. Then all we had was Ganesh Kumarji, remember, it's a Bombay flat of 650 square feet. Okay, there is one little sitting room, one little kitchen, and one more room. That living room with that two sofas that we had, there would be dim, we would have a tube light, but we would also have a yellow light, one light. So Appa would switch off the tube light, put that yellow light, and he would prepare the sofa and everything, and he would tell, come on, Aruna, Raja, come. My mother also, everybody, all of us would try, and he would say, Pariniki, today Madurai Somasundaram is going to sing, and he will tell us a little brief about Madurai Somasundaram. What is his music, what is his attitude to music, and everything. He will prepare us. And then when we listen, and you remember Somu ji used to Vaya Tarda Akarama Padwar. In Akaram and with abandon. And immediately the father will point out, see, he sings with abandon. Abandon, that is the spirit. You should catch that spirit. He would point out those pointers, And that, those were amazing. I think much of the inspiration and learning came from those non-formal situations.
In fact, I recall, accidentally I was in your house on a Saturday, and your father, we were all kids then, and I saw the father telling you, "Adu kuda taalam podu," so that you'll get a hang of what's happening.
Correct, absolutely. You remember so amazing, Kumarji. I mean, this is what wonderful days, isn't it? We share such a precious memory of growing up at the same time. Of course, you are younger to me, but still, what an amazing memory.
ஒரு ரூம்ல இந்த ரேடியோ செட், இந்த ஆம்பியன்ஸ் அதெல்லாம், இன்னொரு ரூம்ல huge beautiful மூர்த்தி of Radha Krishna, which was the mother's kind of room, and there you kind of connected with Krishna and Radha on a one-to-one basis. And so mother, father பத்தி கொஞ்சம் சொன்னேன் இப்போ நிறைய. அது மாதிரி மதரை பத்தி கொஞ்சம் சொல்லுங்க. ஏன்னா மதர் வாஸ் அ கிரேட் சிங்கர், கிரேட் மீரா பஜன் சிங்கர். அது அந்த ராதா கிருஷ்ணா மூர்த்தி அண்ட் யோர் மதர், அதை பத்தி சில வார்த்தைகள் சொல்லுங்க.
Yeah, in the sense that they both complemented each other, because listen, I told you about my father encouraging us to be independent thinking, but my mother was an embodiment of independent thinking. And we could see both of them giving space to each other. That was a fantastic learning, because my mother was a non-conformist in many ways, because she felt like that. Suppose she listened to a musician and she felt that this music is great. She didn't have to ask my father. She would just, or tattanaria fruits, she will, prepare a nice little hamper. She will take me, we are going today to see this musician. She will take me, make me do pranam to that musician, offer him or her all those goodies, and then offer our respects. And she never had to take his permission to do any of those things. I mean, that it sticks in my head, because they practiced what they preach. It wasn't double standards. And my mother had her own beat. She was into bhajanai, sampradaya bhajanai. Every Wednesday afternoon, there would be sampradaya bhajanai in the house. Every 1st of January, there would be Radha Kalyanam in the house. And so about 30-40 Bhagavatas used to come. And in that one room, they would do Deepa Pradakshanam and Divyanama Sankirtanam, and this one, Mohan Paiji, your revered guru, he used to come home and sing Abhangas and everything. My mother requested him, and he taught me a few Abhangs also. Directly from Mohan Paiji, I got a chance to learn. So, Andamadri, it was a complete open house. On the one hand for the Bhakti Margam, on the one hand for the Sangeeta Margam, on the one hand for literatures like Kiva Jagannathan, Kiran, Yambar Vijayaraghavacharya, Sukabrahmam. They would come home, and there would be Bhagavata Saptaham for 1 week. So literature. So it was really, an amazing atmosphere. Today, I'm just wondering how they pulled it off. With limited means, limited resources. They were not, financially supremely endowed or anything. But it was an amazing, child.
எனக்கு ஒரு மிஸ்டிவஸ் இது விஷயம் ஞாபகம் வருது. நான் நிறைய வந்திருக்கேன் ஆத்துக்கு. ஆனா எனக்கு ரொம்ப நாள் சேத்துராம் மாமா தான் மாமியோட ஹஸ்பண்ட் விஷயம் தெரியாது. அதாவது Mahani was, on her own, and she would sing and she would ask you to do something and whatever it is. And Mahani was silently, on the other side. And நிறைய பேர் ஆத்துல இருப்பா. I mean, whenever I have many people in the house, and it took some time to really connect the dots and say, and amma வந்து கொஞ்சம் மாமாவோட taller. Is it
Yes,
right?
he was an inch or two taller than my father.
சோ எனக்கு வந்து அது வந்து ரொம்ப நாளா இது தெரியவே இல்லை. என்னோட அண்ணா நான் ராமோட கூட கேட்பேன், டே ராஜலட்சுமி மாமி இவ்வளவு அழகா பாடுறா, மாமா யாருன்னு இன்னும் புரியலையே.
This is new information for me.
Because in see, you are very natural. When you had a like in your case, you always sought answer for what was bothering you.
Yes.
And Mumbai, I think the people who shifted to Mumbai earlier, they always had this very permissive surroundings. They always allowed things to happen in a natural manner.
Yes.
I'm extremely happy that your father gave you enough space to be on your own. Your mother gave you enough space. Your mother, by nature, was a little disciplinarian, if I may say.
Yaru? Amma mama, very much.
Amma was always a kind of a taskmaster. She said what she wanted, and she wanted you to deliver what she wants.
That is true.
Appa was, no, you're a child.
He would be the foil which would embrace both of us against that discipline. So, together we had enough of discipline and at the same time a kind of a place where we were pampered also. So that was a wonderful combination. Fantastic.
And Raja also used to sing in his younger days.
He both of us used to sing together. And I forgot to tell you one thing. Every Sunday we used to go to Tamil. There was a Tamil Madhyar, Tamil master, and we used to go to Tamil class to read, write, and speak Tamil.
Super. In fact, I mean, from my experience, I seek the pardon of the Carnatic performers. I find a lot of artists who perform Carnatic music are not very comfortable with Tamil.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the lyrics, I find them a little, diffident in writing down or anything like that. நிறைய தமிழ் ஸ்லோகங்கள் இருக்கு, என்னெல்லாமோ இருக்கு. அது கொஞ்சம் தடுமாறுற மாதிரி, எஸ்பெஷலி இந்த உச்சரிப்பு, அது எல்லாமே கொஞ்சம் இதெல்லாம் கொஞ்சம், ஏன்னா நம்ம பம்பாயில இருந்ததுனால கொஞ்சம் சான்ஸ்கிரிட்டைஸ், கொஞ்சம் ஹிந்தி, கொஞ்சம் மராட்டி இதெல்லாம் இருக்கிறதுனால வித்தியாசங்கள் சில சின்ன வயசுலயே பதிஞ்சு விடுறது. ஆனா சென்னையில இருக்கிறவாளுக்கு இந்த இந்த வித்தியாசங்கள் வந்து அந்த தமிழ்ல இல்லாததுனால அந்த உச்சரிப்புல நீங்க சில டைம்ல சம்ஸ்கிருத விருத்தம் எல்லாம் பாடுறேன். You sing a lot of, for example, Kalingathanam, you sing a virutam before and then followed by. So your diction is so perfect to the point that this is something with many people would envy. But I think
listening to Tamil also. Listening. Bhagavata Saptahamna, Sukabrahmam used to speak in Tamil for 7 days non-stop. So you got the hang of how they express themselves in Tamil. That was amazing. Wonderful.
So Tamil எழுத படிக்க தெரிஞ்சுனா, I think ஒரு Aryan language Sanskrit, ஒரு Dravidian language Tamil, so இது ரெண்டும் தெரிஞ்சதுன்னா it's a great strength. இந்த பாஷையோட importance for a singer. The youngsters,
yeah, wonderful.
The youngsters somehow feel that command over English language or French is adequate to also be a good decision. But according to me, unless you go through this rigorous process of using the phonetics, which is very important to any good singing, and the breath control and things like that. In the breathing control, பத்தி சில வார்த்தைகள் சொல்லுங்க.
Okay. Breathing control. See, there are different kinds of breathing. This is what my voice teacher has taught me. That is, you can breathe through your nostrils. That means you breathe from everywhere, but your concentration that can be only on your nostrils. Sometimes your concentration can be on your throat. Sometimes your concentration can be on your chest, the ribs, the rib cage expanding and contracting. At other times, your concentration can be on your diaphragm and your abdomen. So there are different types of breathing, and there are names for these kind of breathings. Now, normally, all of us, even if we are not singers, particularly definitely singers, we should practice all these kind of breathings. Because it's a good way of expanding the apparatus of breathing and making it ready to be able to breathe any which way. Either through the abdomen or through the chest or this way or that way. Then when you come into practicing with music, you know, for higher notes, you use more of the chest breathing. For lower notes, you use more of the abdominal breathing. And there are, you know, and these habits will naturally set in once you really practice every day. So breath is the pranan, the source of music is breath.
I'm excited at the way you explained, because normally a musician thinks Kanta Sankeetam is good enough. So, but then they are challenged with longish kind of lyrics. And for example, Jati or something like that, and you sing in Tilana or something like that, then that constraint is so visible. Because you have not undergone this pattern of breathing techniques. And it's but natural that you have learned all this. And also tell me, in Karnataka Sangeetam, normally, நம்ம ஸ்வரஸ்தானத்தோட practice பண்றோம். Whereas in Hindustani Sangeet, Akaram is given a lot of importance. So, இதை பற்றி ஒரு சில வார்த்தைகள்.
The Hindustani Sangeet needs more of Akaram because it uses less of lyrics. The Sahitya element is less, the Akara element is more. So they practice more of the Akara, not so much with the Sahitya. Which means I also include the solfege in the Sahitya. That is Sarigama Padanisa is also Sahitya only because you are uttering the name of this Vara.
Correct.
It's different for Carnatic music because here, for example, imagine a song like Everani. Everani, you have to start there. And negotiate the words and the vowels and the consonants. Then it is now for that you need to practice phonetics, words along with vowels. So your basic equipment is differently needed for Carnatic.
Correct. And that breathing at the Tarasthai singing and elongating the phrases and with the same power, the Gambiram.
So our requirement is different. But I strongly feel we should, the smart thing would be for Carnatic musicians to practice all this and practice the Akara. And a smart thing for Hindustani musicians would be to practice Akara as well as Sahitya. Then we would be really smart.
In fact, I remember number UGNCA sponsored Uttar Dakshin series number panino adala you are the presenter representing the Carnatic music. I think it was in NCPA. Where you brought out the beauty of the Gamaka aspect of Carnatic music. And simultaneously brought out certain beautiful aspects of Hindustani music, and as a singer, kind of assimilated both the styles, and maybe that's one reason why you are so successful. So in the Gamakas பத்தி கொஞ்சம் யாரோ ரொம்ப விஷமமா சொன்னா, அதாவது நீங்க ஒரு particular note பாடிட்டு வாங்கோ, and when your car travels through rumblers, then கொஞ்சம் அந்த oscillation வரும், அதுதான் Gamaka அப்படின்ட்டு திரும்ப விஷமமா சொல்றது. Otherwise, அந்த Gamakas எப்படி நீங்க Carnatic musicல handle பண்றீங்க? Why that style is non-existent in Hindustani music?
See, the aesthetics of any particular music gets defined by the language that the people speak in that region, the thinking, the culture, the habits. This is what defines the aesthetic of any particular region, be it any part of the world. Okay. So all these are interrelated. The language, the culture, the habits, the thinking, the music, the poetry, the literature, the architecture, everything is interconnected. Now, if you come to Carnatic music, what happens is, everything is andolit. That is, it swings like a pendulum in and around the original placement of the swara.
Hmm.
So, sari gama padani sani da pa magari sa. If that is the Shankarabharanam / Bilaval thought, then sari re ga ma andolan. Pagam. Then when you want to go to pagama, becomes gama. That andolan, the amplitude of the andolan increases.
Actually, the voice is touching the pa, but you are saying ga.
Yes. So here there is a supreme aesthetic principle that is followed, which is gama. I'm indirectly telling the listener, I'm going to stay with ma. When I go gama, the listener already gets a teaser. Oh, now she's going to go up to pa. These are aesthetic masterpieces. And therefore, our system believes in giving you teasers, giving you an indication, and then going there and
challenging your ability as a Rasika.
Exactly. Now, this is our requirement. Now, Hindustani, the requirement is different. They want to stay more on the note itself.
Correct.
And then at the end of the note, they will slide down like as though you are gliding down in a parachute. That's what they call as a meend. The meend is a very prevalent gamaka or oscillation in the Hindustani style because it slides down. So you have less of andolan or swinging, you have more of sliding. Okay, so these are aesthetic differences, and then it depends on the language also, the way people speak that language. Also architecture, you go to north, all the architecture is, the Gol Gumbaj, the Taj Mahal, they are all like a meand, carved out like that because of the Mughal influence. If you come down south, it is filigree work. The gopurams are one on top of the other with so many mythological stories placed one on top of the other. So it is our aesthetic, and it is their aesthetic. And there is enough space for both the aesthetics to be amply appreciated. All you need is an open mind and a wee bit of initiation. That's all.
In fact, ஏதோ ஒரு செமினார்ல பேசிட்டு இருக்கும்போது யாரோ சொன்னா, ஹிந்துஸ்தானி மியூசிக் நல்லா ஒருத்தர் பாடிட்டு இருக்கும்போது ரசிகாலாம் கண்ண மூடின்னு ரசிச்சுட்டு இருப்பா. ஆனா கர்நாடிக் மியூசிக் ரசிகா கூட அந்த கிருதி அவளுக்கு தெரியும், என்ன பாட போறாங்க, அவ கூட தாளம் போட்டு ரசிப்பா. So the Carnatic rasikas are a little more participative in the entire process. The rasikas are just seated and actually they are connected, but they are not participating in that experience.
Absolutely. So, a Carnatic concert to me is a conversation between the performer and the listener.
It's a sambhashan.
Yeah, exactly. It's a sambhashan. Absolutely.
As an artist, you are actually talking to the rasikas.
Yes.
And their Talayatal is sending a message back to you. Where they are enjoying, where they are not. So there is a strong connect between the performer and the rasika, and it's a minute-to-minute sambhashan between the two, and that takes you further and motivates you to do better. So I think we have reasonably covered the fun aspect, but towards the end, I want to ask you.
Before we close, I have one question for you.
Chalunga.
Can I?
Please.
I want you to talk a little bit about how you came into this wonderful mission in your life in the service of Panduranga and in the service of Abhangs and performing and knowing so much about this wonderful life that has been led by the saints. How did it happen in your life? I want to know.
I will say it very briefly. The bhakti concept actually was born in the Dakshina Pradesh.
Yes.
When the Abhas and Myanmars. But it was a journey with an individual and God. Whereas in Maharashtra, it evolved in a slightly different fashion. The Maharashtrian saints ensured that when you express bhakti to the Lord, you don't do it in isolation. You do it as a community.
Yes.
So the aspect of group singing and analyze any Marathi Abhang. Incidentally, I must tell you that an Abhang is a composition of the Marathi saints. Any Marathi saint cannot become an Abhang.
Yes.
So essentially, Abhang would only mean the composition of saints like Ganeshwar or Namdevar or Tukaram or Chokhamela, Janabai, Sautamali. So the compositions by these saints who are actually very, very ordinary people. They were not some accomplished Sanskrit writers or, big people with Panditya or Vakchaturya and things like that. They were very, very ordinary people. It is the bhakti inside them which pushed them into composing what it is actually an outpouring from the heart.
Amazing.
So the speak to the God is something that connects very easily with the masses.
Amazing.
It is not something that is of a very high order where you sit with tremendous attention. No, it is actually an outpouring from your heart. And sometimes you even fight with the God.
Yeah.
That God, why are you not taking care of me? I mean, you seem to take care of everyone else around you, and why is it that I'm not seen by you anytime? Your Kripa Kataksham, why does it not fall on me? So this aspect of being very humane in the music. And I must also tell you that the Marathi Abhangs evolved more than 750 years ago. And when the Raga concept did not happen. So the component of a Kriti is something which is of a later origin. So that is why you find that while you render a Marathi Abhang, so much is not attached to the purity of the Raga.
Correct.
It is just an outpouring. And when the child cries, the child does not cry in a Raga. The child express what it needs. For example, there is a beautiful Abhang, Anandache dohi Ananda taranga, Anandachi anga Anandache, Garbhachi avadi matecha dohala. அது என்னன்னா அந்த குழந்தைக்கு குக்ஷில இருக்கிற குழந்தைக்கு என்ன வேணுங்கிற விஷயம் அந்த குழந்தை அம்மாவுக்கு சொல்லவே வேண்டாம். அம்மாவுக்கு சொல்லாம அந்த குக்ஷில இருக்கிற குழந்தைக்கு என்ன வேணும் என்ன வேண்டாங்கிற விஷயம் அம்மாவுக்கு தானே தெரியும். அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பக்தனுக்கு விட்டல் என்று எடுத்து போய் சொல்ல வேண்டிய அவசியமே இல்லை. அவனுக்கு தானே தெரியும். He is the Sakala Vyapi. So he knows what is what. So the human aspect of rendering a Kriti is very prevalent in the Marathi Abhangs. And that is why you very quickly connect with the audience, number one. And number two, the Dhruvapada is meant to be, for example, when you sing Sundarate Dhyana Ubhe Vitevari Karakata Vari Tevuniya Tudashi Haragala Kase Pitambara Avade Nirantara Hechi Dhyana. And the Dhruvapadam is the essence of that entire composition. And that Dhruvapadam is sung by the entire community. And when I say entire community, everybody in that satsangam participates while singing that ராகம் தெரியுமோ தாளம் தெரியுமோ வார்த்தை தெரியுமோ அதெல்லாம் கவலை இல்லை. எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து பாடணும். அதுல you are not testing the abilities of the human being. You are only enjoying the satsangam. So அங்க the musicality, the தாளம் அதெல்லாம் they take a back seat. And I must tell you this, the greatness of my Guru Mohan Pai was when he tuned these Abhangs, he realized that the Dhruvapadam would be sung by a child, would be sung by a male, would be sung by a female, and the general people and who are not very musically inclined. So he always tuned the Dhruvapadam in a range where it is compatible to a male voice, where it is compatible to a female voice, so that they don't have to think while singing it. So in Marathi Abhang rendering was very unique during the Mohan Pai time, and I'm so grateful to him that he made this magic happen, and which became so popular in South India. And today, Abhangs are a rage, in whether it is in Chennai or it is in Kerala, and you have only made it better by inducting Marathi Abhangs into your performances. You have only brought it.
Yeah, I must tell you, when I first sang an Abhang in the Kacheri, till then Abhangs were always being sung in the Sampradaya Bhajana, but in a Kacheri, not so much. So when I still remember the day, it was Naradagana Sabha, the venue, and I was singing a pre-senior concert in the afternoon, 2:30. And those days I didn't have much of an audience to speak of. I was still struggling to make my name. And I sang Tirtha Vitthala. And I sang it with trepidation because I said, I don't know how the audience will take it. But trust me, Ganesh Kumarji, from that day till today, I have not been able to finish a concert without an Abhang. That is the power of the Abhang. And
That is the power of
and somehow Vithala made me become that kind of a pioneer to be able to introduce it in a kacheri format. That was again his grace. Absolutely.
In fact, the song which you mentioned, Tirtha Vittala, Kshetra Vittala, Deva Puja Vittala, is a outpouring of Sant Namdev when he goes to a Shiva temple and they don't allow him inside because he is not belonging to the class. So he was actually driven out. And being a Shivaratri, he is so concerned that I have come to have your darshan and you have done this to me. So the Badways tell, no, you go behind the temple. So he goes behind the temple and sings the song and the temple turns to give him darshan.
My
so
God.
This is the story. This is the story. Every Abhang carries a huge story behind it. It's a very human story. And it is a story which will touch you and me and will connect the audience. So maybe that is the reason why people like Marathi Abhangs. And I must actually compliment you, Arunaji, from my bottom of my heart, that you have broadened the acceptability or the receptivity for a Marathi Abhang. Because the classical music thought that this is an impure format. But I have always felt that when you scale Marathi Abhangs with your raga structure, it is not fair. Because the ragas didn't make sense. So how can you use a new scale to measure an old thing? It will not fall in line.
No way. So it's not comparing apples to apples. It's comparing something else with something else, which is not necessary.
Absolutely. And I have tears in my eyes saying you, complimenting you, because you have done a great service to the broadening of Marathi Abhangs, and you have taken it far and wide. You have traveled internationally, and then you sing Abhang. People think, oh, it is so fantastic, so nice to hear. And I remember you once sang Savala Sundara at the Fine Arts Society auditorium, and the people went, they had tears in their eyes, not because you spoke to them, but without realizing the artist and the audience connect, and it's a journey towards godliness. And this is a great aspect of music. After all, what is music? Music is a route towards the Parabrahman, the Tattvam, to connect with him. And in that journey, it was successful within a few minutes by rendering a kriti. That's what life is all about. That's what music is all about. And I'm so, but towards the end, I want to ask you a slightly mischievous question. In the digital world today, whether it is YouTube, whether it is Facebook, whether it is Instagram, everybody has an opportunity to put their talent into the public domain for anybody to see. But as the chairman of Music Forum, I have a small concern, which actually we are going to hold a seminar to discuss these aspects, that when you showcase an incomplete ability, actually, are you doing a service to music, or are you exposing the flaws through your system into music? Because somebody said, गधा घोड़ा सब दिखता है YouTube में, अभी उसमें से सही कौन सा है, गलत कौन सा है, ये कोई क्यूरेट करने के लिए, उसको मेजर करके ये सही है, ये गलत है, ये दिखाने के लिए कोई नहीं है, because it's a social platform and everybody wants to share their knowledge. But when you do that, you tend to downsize the beauty of music. So should there be some kind of a methodology where there is a measurement, like for example, when we run NSYNC TV, there is an editorial board which screens everything and only takes in what is good to be taken to the masses through the television medium. So I think there is a responsibility somewhere in between to ensure. So the digital platform, because it is so open, it has allowed all kinds of proliferation. So how would you treat this digital space? What is your feeling on this?
Yeah, I think it's a huge moment of transformation, and which has been accelerated due to COVID, because of the COVID, the opportunities for live performances having been reduced, people have taken like a torrent into the digital space because of the need to express themselves. So yes, if there could be a curative process, that would be amazing. But in the absence of the curative process, I am a firm believer that the audience or the people, the rasikas who consume the content, are supremely intelligent. That is because as human beings, we have been endowed by that supreme intelligence, by the divine power. So in no time, it's a matter of time, they will be able to separate the chaff from the cream. They will be able to do it. And only that will stand the test of time, which is worthy of standing the test of time. That is and through the centuries it has happened, it will continue to happen. I don't have any fear on that.
The direction is so important. And that brings me to absolutely the last question. Madu Mekum Kanna, Vishamakara Kannan. These are very unusual numbers to be sung in a concert. What is the next song that you're planning to launch?
Oh, I'm working on it. Actually, I'm working on something new. Not just one piece, one or two pieces, which will be completely out of the box and either. So I would like the Rasikas to know that they should hang on and wait for these new releases that are going to come out.
Okay, super. Yeah. So, Arunaji, with this, we have come to the conclusion of this Sambhashanam. But Sambhashanam is a constant process for me. I keep talking to you, keep talking to me. So, there are certain discussions which we can't put in the public domain, but there are some fun things which can put in the public domain. So, I'm very happy and thankful to you for having accepted to join this Sambhashanam. And thank you very much. Wish you all the very best. We are all keenly looking forward to this new launch which you are going to do.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
My heartfelt felicitations to InSync TV for the wonderful service that they are doing under your leadership, and I wish this to grow from strength to strength.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Good night.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah.